Head over to thebestsongever.com and purchase our new hit, Together Again. It is a cover of Smokey Mike and the God King. That's Jeremy Boring and Michael Knowles. And with your help, we will smash our way onto the Billboard charts. Here we go. We got this story from the New York Post. Jill Biden's bizarre Hunger Games aesthetic. White House Christmas video roasted by critics. The first thing I said earlier today was like, I don't care if they want to do some cringe tap dancing thing. But apparently a lot of people are like, yo, this is one of the worst things we've ever seen. And for that, you will all now have to watch it along with us.
No, it's really bad. It's really...
Do I have to unmute it? Yeah. It is really, really bad.
And this is physically in the White House? In the White House.
Yeah, I believe it is, yeah.
It looks like The Shining. Like you expect the kids from The Shining to pop up out of here.
Candy cane walls are a little much.
Hey, very diverse. Okay?
Say that again.
Yeah, look at that.
Look how she stares.
Oh, yeah.
It's like they're doing stage acting, but they're doing it on camera. That's why it looks so weird.
This is what all the victims of MK Ultra see before they're hijacked and taken over and brought to the CIA secret black sites in order to commit their assassinations on political leaders.
I'll
this
say,
is the brainwashing campaign.
Talented dancers. But this is like what you look at from 100 or 300 feet away, so that's why their faces are so...
I'm sorry, I gotta be honest, I hate tap dancing. Yeah. I absolutely despise tap dancing.
Why, though?
It's like nails on a chalkboard.
Right.
That's it. Like,
have you ever
nails
done
on a chalkboard, that's what that sounds like to me.
I tap danced when I was younger, so
I
like it, but I didn't like that, definitely. I think just the only thing missing was like Dylan Mulvaney. Like, he should have been in there.
But I mean, like, I'm not gonna rag on people for wanting to do a tap dancing Christmas. That doesn't matter to me. But then I saw this. This is from the Daily Mail. Jill Biden's White House Christmas dance troupe are radical BLM-loving activists who have demanded prison abolition and defunding the police. But it's not just that. People are calling it a racist hate group. A large portion of their background is ragging on people based on race. And so the White House decided to bring in a group to dance around smiling when they're like, explicitly saying on their website, they hate you based on your race. That was kind of wild to me. And that, I think, is worthy of more criticism. Now, you add these two things together and you get a trashy performance I don't care for, but you're allowed to like it. I don't, if people on the left want to like it, it's fine, whatever. But they're just a bunch of racists. I don't like racists.
Hunter Biden liked it after smoking some rock-like substances, but that guy likes a lot of different weird stuff. So definitely a lot of things reminiscing of Hunger Games here that a lot of people are making a lot of comparisons to. Absolutely. But the organization does a lot of weird stuff. I think they're more of an activist organization than a dance organization. They're kind of a collective organization of radical feminists of color. They call for prison abolition. They call for defunding the police. They tell people to join their local Black Lives Matter chapter. And more importantly, they say, hey, if you're white, you got to check your privilege and you got to learn how to be mindful and financially support other people because you were born the wrong skin color and therefore you are a bad person. That's extensively what they are saying.
They say that if you take issue with being insulted based on your race, you are fragile. And so I see things like that and I'm just like, dude, there was that little kid who was wearing the face paint for the Chiefs game, and he had black on one side and red on the other. And it was a black reporter who complained about blackface, and I said, that's black fragility. That's what black fragility is. He sees a kid wearing Chiefs face paint, and he loses his mind and calls it all racism.
Right.
And I'm like, you see why you shouldn't do that? I'm not going to go and blame all black people because one moron yelled at a kid. But that's what people like this do. They say that if you're a white person who doesn't like being insulted based on the color of your skin, you have white fragility. And I'm like, well, like one white person was upset about it. I don't know that every single white person gets mad when you criticize a white person. That black reporter who wanted to get that kid in trouble for whatever reason, he's one guy. He doesn't represent all black people. I'm like, it makes no sense to make black the focus of it the same way they make white the focus of it.
Right. This
is my problem with leftist identitarians, and being brought into the White House, I think it's disgusting.
They don't get angry. They get perturbed. Okay.
Well, it's just so hypocritical. It's like the reverse racism stuff that's happening. I'm half Chinese and half Italian. I don't really think about that much, but I feel kind of bad for white guys in the present day. Like, I just feel like they are really under attack in many ways. And white women, like when the whole Karen thing, I feel like it's a very racist term to call somebody a Karen, to call white women. It's become a racist term.
Yeah, but reverse racism would be a good thing. The idea that you get a bunch of racists like this and you reverse what they've done. But what they're actually is just racist.
Right.
The left uses this language game. They call it reverse racism when they attack white people because they want to make it seem like they're not being racist when, like, quite literally, that's all they're doing. Hating people based on their race.
Yeah, the antidote to racism is seeing people as humans.
Right. You know, it's
You
gotten
judge someone
worse.
by their
It's just gotten
character.
worse. And I think that progressively, like, I think there's more racism now than there was 20 years ago, like the early 2000s.
Yeah,
The way
I
I remember it, I don't remember even ever thinking about race. And now all of a sudden, it's the only thing that we're fixated on. What's your race? What's your sexual identity? Like, these things weren't things I spoke about when I was in my late teens and early 20s.
A lot of people blame Obama. I liked him in the early days. I was like, he's a cool guy. And I didn't really care what he looked like. I was just
Right.
listening to him and looking into his eyes. And like, but then I guess like he would say things about race and like, and bring it up and kind of create a polarization.
Let's watch this one. Here you go. This is the First Lady Melania's Christmas video. It is remarkably neutral.
It's very white, though. That's problematic. Those trees are too
Well,
white.
it's one lady. She's
That's
white.
what they said.
I'm talking about the trees and the
All white
lights.
light,
They said that the white lights on the trees were symbolic of, like, you know, white supremacy.
White supremacy.
no lights of color.
Right. So in this video, a lot of people are comparing the two videos. They're saying Melania's was better. We don't need to hear from Peter Ducey right now. They're saying Melania's was better because hers was just a very neutral. This is the White House on Christmas. I gotta say, I'd call it lowest common denominator, meaning it wasn't really much of anything. Everybody got to see the White House. It was Christmas time. How nice.
Right.
Hey, look, I think it's great that the White House celebrated Christmas. I think the way they celebrated it was kind of tacky, but that's fine. Not everybody has to like what I like, and I don't have to like what you like. But don't bring a bunch of racists in to do it, man. That kind of pisses me off.
I got a little disturbed at them. I mean, it's like it is the White House and it is the Capitol, and like, but they decked it out with a lot of like gaudy, like furniture and trees and decorations, and like people are. I don't want to speak for everyone, but a lot of people, I think the economy is like
Right.
people
I was
going to
point that out. Like, there's so many people suffering, and they're putting
They're
up these,
tap dancing on America's casket,
Right, with these
essentially. They're
decadent
tap dancing
things.
and everyone's being financially
Right.
ruined.
But this is why they're
Right.
calling it Hunger Games.
Yeah, no,
was a little disturbing.
absolutely.
And
Sorry, Cara, I cut you off.
No, it was okay. I was just going to say that, you know, it is a smack in the face, I think, to a lot of people in America, especially in the lower classes, who really are suffering from the economy. And I don't consider myself lower income. I'm right in the middle. So I think the people in the lower income communities feel it the most, because I go out and talk to people all the time for my job, reporting for Newsmax and Gateway Pundit. And, you know, it's a real thing. Like, people literally are living paycheck to paycheck. Like, they spend their last $10 on that day's lunch. So I think to put a video like that up and like use people of color as always as tokens is offensive to people that are literally starving and don't have money for food. And then they're putting up these like tap dancers tap dancing around the White House with like candy canes and these crazy glitzy gaudy decorations.
Especially with all the resources now going to illegal immigration and helping them out, as there are a lot of mainline stories of a lot of communities, specifically poor communities, being denied resources that they had before that are now being diverted to, of course, the new Democratic voting base that is literally being shipped into this country.
Right, but they're really out of touch. I think that's a pandering move. What they did there, it's like they're pandering for like the diversity and inclusion stuff. I don't even think people like minorities are really into that. Like, they just want to be able to pay their bills and the economy to approve. They're not impressed with that, especially people that I talk to.
It's not. But here's the thing: it's not for them.
Right.
Jill Biden didn't produce this video for poor people. She produced it for her peers. You know, when I worked at Vice, we were constantly talking about content to make and what the strategy was, and I was always just wondering why it was that the higher ups of the company were so focused on cable television. I was like, who cares? And I understand it's guaranteed contract money. It's like you sign a 10-year deal for terrestrial cable and you get guaranteed revenue coming in through the cable subscriptions and all that stuff. That I understood. But I was like, that's not going to build your brand up. And then I realized it rather quickly. Shane Smith and the other people who were higher ups were in their mid to late 40s. Their whole world was being on TV. They did not grow up with the internet the way we did. And so as the younger guys in our 20s were looking at how to get online and maximize viewership, he was chasing the caboose of the train that had already left the station.
Exactly what I thought. Out of touch. That was the exact words that went through my mind when I saw this first. I was like, Jill and Joe are so out of touch with what's going on.
Exactly. Jill Biden is not thinking about poor people in this country. She's going, I wonder what people would like. What does people mean? People means the 1%. It means the people who make 600,000+ a year. And she's like, ooh, they'll really like this.
You know, there's some kind of sociopathic PR guy at the White House who's like, we're losing the black vote. We're losing the election.
They are,
We're not
though.
doing that well. I got an idea. let's get black people smiling and dancing.
Like in tap
That's going to
dancing,
show
I don't know,
everyone that
you
they're
know.
really happy, right, guys? And like, yeah, sure, Bob, yeah, sure. And then they do this,
you
and
think about it-
it's like, what the crap? What the freaking hell is this
Right.
bull crap?
It almost, what is that old stuff that they used to do when they would have like people in black lace tap dancing? It was that old school form of entertainment. It kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, they could have toned it down for camera at least. Like the whole
Right.
like that stuff. Keep that for the
Gaudy.
stage. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a little.
You're gaudy. I like that. That's the way you described it. I think so.
Yeah, those
but
candy
again,
canes.
I want to stress this. I think a lot of people are ragging on the performance, and I'm just like, that comes off as so partisan. Like, oh, I just don't like the way they're dressed and they're tap dancing, and I'm like, well, I mean, I don't like it either, but I don't care.
Right.
I mean, but if we want to make an argument about what the White House should be and decorum and all that stuff, that I get.
That's more what it's about. Because I thought they were doing a great job dancing. Just hands down. I didn't want to just insult it for the sake of insulting it. They're good
Right.
dancers, and it was
the
actually
mouth movements. Really, what the hell are you doing?
it's
But that's what it is. That's the traditional style. Like Ian was saying, it's like stage work, but they're doing it on camera, so it's weird.
Oh, someone
I'm
pointed out
uncivilized then.
minstrel shows was what you were talking about. where they're
Right.
painted
Minstrel
faces.
shows. Right. When they sort of like subjugate minorities and black people to dancing and tap dancing on stage. That's what that reminded me of. It's a minstrel show.
I don't know. It just looks kind of weird. And then if you look at art, architecture, movies, models, and everything else in our society, if it's woke, it's kind of trash. And I think that's not an accident. I think this is meant to beat down the human spirit. I think this is an attack on beauty, because once you attack that, you attack the human spirit and the human will to kind of live and survive. You look around the democratic areas, there's not a lot of energy that is good there. There's not a lot of spirit. There's not a lot of growth. There's not a lot of potential. It's all regressive. It's all low vibrational. And I don't think that's an accident. I think this ugliness is being thrown on us deliberately in many different ways all around us culturally, because what better way to subjugate and destroy a population than to make it ugly?
I would have
agree.
loved just a video of Jill and Joe sitting by a tree, lighting a candle, and then saying, we're all in this together. Even though there's crap going on in the world, just something simple and unifying would have been nice.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.